Well, 6 o'clock to 6:15, we're going to have open mic for those of you that would like to just come up and address the council. Now, bear in mind, those would have to be things that are not on our agenda for tonight and or things that we would expect they'd be associated with the governing of Canyon City or with City Council. So that being said, is there anyone that would like to just come up and address the City Council at this time? Yes, ma'am. No, are you? Yeah, there'll be a time during the meeting when people that have registered to talk directly with City Council will have a time slot for that. But this is just a time when, I don't know, you may have a duck joke or something you'd like to tell. And no, I guess that has nothing. George, would you please come up and tell us your name?
My name is George Turner.
Good.
I'm a resident of Canyon City. Some of you have already heard part of this, but I attended the last Public Works Committee meeting, and at that meeting, I stated that I'm a member of the Community Relations Board at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and have been since its inception, which is now in excess of 20 years. But it's a committee that acts as a liaison between the communities, the host communities, and the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and I think does some good. I, at that meeting, was cut short, so I wasn't allowed to make my entire presentation, and I'll make this short. But I asked if the council would consider serving on that committee. Now, the committee members are appointed by the wardens out of the Federal Bureau of Prison, but I'm allowed to make nominations, which I did, and I want to thank the mayor, first of all, who approached me after the meeting, and I submitted his application to the wardens, and they unanimously approved Preston to serve on that committee. Other council members are welcome to serve, of course, as well. But in addition to that, and what I didn't get to say was, I was hoping that since the council is active in the community and knows other people, if they would know anyone else that might be interested in serving on that committee. And in addition to that, the city of Florence has utilized inmates from the prison camp, which is the minimum security facility out there, on numerous occasions to do various community projects around the city of Florence. And one thing that they've worked a lot on is that Rialto Theater project, but other projects as well. And so what I wanted to do was to ask if any of you knows anyone else in the community that might be interested in serving on that committee. You'd be more than welcome to approach me or anyone else that you know. Now you can approach the mayor and give us the name and some information on the individual, and we'll submit it to the wardens.
George, how often does the meeting, how often are there meetings?
It's only quarterly.
Okay. And how many approximately citizens sit on that?
There are probably 12 to 15, I suspect, citizens. And then, of course, we have various employees in the Department of the Bureau of Prisons as well. Okay. So.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's in September.
First part of September, yes.
First part of September.
It's on a Wednesday.
Okay.
10 o'clock, and we normally meet at the training center unless there's a conflict, and then we meet at one of the facilities.
So we would meet out there.
Right.
Okay.
And I'd offer to take you, except I always have to leave early to get back to Rotary.
Another plug.
Now, that you can't plug the Rotary here. But okay. Okay. Well, thank you, George. I look forward to being there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council at this time, unannounced? Yes, sir. Please step forward and give us your name. Are you on the agenda? We have you on the agenda. But if you wish, you can speak.
Okay. Yeah,
You're with Valleywide.
Valleywide, right? Am I on the agenda?
Yes, you are. We have an agenda of our own. so to speak. Okay, is there anyone else at this time that would like to? Yes, sir. Mr. Is it sergeant or captain or
Any of the
commander?
above.
Chief?
Officer works well.
Officer. I just know it's Mr. Cooper, so
And
please
I'm
go
not-
ahead. Go
I'm not
ahead.
sure this is the appropriate time. I wasn't advised if I was on the agenda or not.
Is,
Recognition?
Yes.
yeah, we have a recognition. I signed some for some officers too, didn't I? Are they,
Those the missing officers from last time, Coop?
No.
Okay.
This is an entirely new event.
okay. So go right ahead.
Okay. Like most of us, the first thing I do when I get to the office in the morning is I screen my emails. And it's always a real pleasure for me when I get an email from a citizen that has something positive to say about our police department or our city. And last week, I received one of those emails. And it was from a local merchant who's got a coin shop here in Canyon City. And he relayed a story to me about a veteran, a World War II veteran, who was 91 years old, that came into his store to sell some coins so he could have some money to send one of his relatives who was having some financial difficulties. They concluded their business. The proprietor bought the coins, and then he asked the elderly gentleman who was in a wheelchair and a walker how he was going, or first of all, how he got to Canyon City, because in their conversation, this gentleman relayed to him that he came from California and was currently staying in a veteran's home. And he couldn't remember the name of the veteran's home. But he told the proprietor that he'd boarded a bus at 4:30 that morning and spent $51 to come to Canyon City to sell these coins. Their business was concluded, and the proprietor then asked the old gentleman how he was going to get back to the vet's home, which he assumed to be in Florence. And the gentleman said, just call the cab. Well, he couldn't remember the name or to call the bus so that, he could get a bus ride. He couldn't remember the name of the bus. He couldn't remember the name of the veteran's home, and it took a quick phone call to find out that it was not McCandless. And so with this information or lack of information, the proprietor called the Canyon City Police Department, and two of our officers, Officer Janelle Langdon Isaac and Officer Chad Gary, responded. Through their combined efforts with the proprietor, they discovered that this gentleman, unbeknownst to the VA, had skipped out from the Veterans Facility in Alamosa, Colorado, come to Canyon City to sell these coins, and then really had no way to get back home. So the three of these citizens, our two police officers and our proprietor of the coin store, put their heads together, and they figured out that the bus stop is at Hanks Travel Plaza. So they got a hold of the bus company, they got him a ticket back home, but this all occurred at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the bus wasn't going to be in Canyon City until 4:30 in the afternoon. So Officer Gary went across the street to deal directly with the folks at Hanks Travel Plaza, made arrangements for them to seat him in the restaurant, made arrangements for any meals that he might need, and to just basically watch over him for that time frame. In the meantime, Officer Langdon loaded the individual, this elderly gentleman, and at 91, you're not real spry, got him into her police car along with his walker, but she couldn't carry the wheelchair. So she got him across the street. The coin shop proprietor loaded the wheelchair in his truck and hauled that across the street. So it was quite an entourage. In the end, while they were negotiating what to do with this gentleman and get everything squared away, there was an argument over who was going to buy this gentleman's meals. Was it going to be the police? Was it going to be the proprietor? As it turned out, the staff at Hanks Travel Plaza purchased the meals for the individual, and everything ended on a happy note. He was able to get back to the VA clinic in Alamosa, where hopefully they'll conduct quicker head counts.
Wow.
Anyway, I'd like to commend those officers for their service to the community and the fact that they went above and beyond, because this is one of those calls that you could simply respond to, transmit information, and then leave. But they chose to go above and beyond and do far more than that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And the city council would like to have officers please come forward. We have a certificate of recognition. If the rest of the officers, if you would like to come up and join us, we'd like to have a picture with you. So we really do appreciate the police force and how safe you keep us in this town, and we're quite proud of you. So come on out. Okay. This is a great time. Let's do this.
Good job, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
That is so enjoyable, and we need to clear up the discussion was who was going to pay, because everybody wanted to pay for the meal, and that is just outstanding, and I really appreciate you officers. Thank you so much. So also, we have I have a report here. Would Gary Buser and Michael Kroll please come up to the podium? And I would like to read to everybody the following from Corporal John Sabatino on July 22nd. He said, I responded to a one-car fatal accident yesterday afternoon in Red Canyon Park. Canyon City employee Jerry Buser was the reporting person for the accident. When I arrived at the scene, Jerry was assisting Michael Kroll in performing CPR on one of the vehicle's occupants. I just want you to know how I appreciate Jerry and Michael's effort. Jerry definitely went above and beyond his regular job duties to help out. Michael was in a volunteer firefighter capacity at the time, but regularly takes extra steps to help the CCPD, Canyon City Police Department, out. We all want to thank Jerry and Michael for their courageous and heroic efforts. It's employees like you that both make a positive impact on our lives and for our residents of Canyon City. So thank both of you for that. We also have a certificate of recognition that I have. Do I have them? Where are they? Oh, you have them, Rex. Mr. Come on up, Rex. And Jerry and Michael. Or Rex, would you like to add something?
Yes, I would, please. First, thank you, Council, Mr. Mayor, and city staff for being here. It's actually my honor to be here to present these certificates to both Jerry and Michael. You never know when you roll up onto a scene like this how people are going to react. I've seen people completely panic and not know what to do, but these two fine gentlemen reacted perfectly. They did everything they should have done in the sequence that they should have done it. This was a tragedy. It's one of the first that I can remember actually happening in one of our parks. But I would just like to reiterate the fact that these two gentlemen did everything they possibly could in the correct manner that they should have done it. And unfortunately, it turned into a tragedy, but on behalf of the City Council and the Mayor and the City of Canyon City, I'd like to present these certificates of recognition to both Jerry and Michael for their efforts in that accident in Red Canyon Park.
Thank you, Rex. We want pictures. That goes with the certificate.
Good job, gentlemen.
Okay. Now, we have two employees that work for the city that I would like to recognize, we would like to recognize. So could we have John McBride and Mr. Harry Patel step up to the microphone, please? And introduce yourselves. No, just kidding. So please. These two gentlemen have a large responsibility for our city. They keep us going. They keep us well-financed, and with great pride take care of the dollars and cents that come to our city. They're essential members of the finance department, but have been even more critical, has been even more critical in the past few years in preparation of the budget and the CAFR. As another critical member of the finance department, both members have not been absent. There's no fault of their own. Harry and John McBride, what did I say? Harry and John McBride have had to not only complete all their regular work during this extremely busy time of the year, but also had to fill in and complete all the extra work, which included our workers' compensation renewal. I want to thank both you, John and Harry, for your extra hours, hard work, and dedication to the citizens of Canyon City. I have certificates of recognition for you. Why don't you come on out?
Carrie's got photos for 3 editions.
Hey.
Gonna cover next year's budget.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're still, the budget isn't here yet, so they're still talking to us.
I'll scoot over this way then. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job. Harry, that's in lieu of your salary. About time you got one of those.
I'm used to it. Just take me back.
It's priceless.
It's priceless. What was that comment?
That's it, we're out of certificates.
Okay.
Gotta re-budget.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Canyon City Council as of August 1st, 2016. And would you please call the roll? No, I'm sorry. Let's do the invocation first. Benny Soto of Mountain View Church and the Sheriff's Department. Benny, would you all please rise?
Oh, you took my thunder. No, thank you for letting us do this. We appreciate it. And I just want to say a quick note, though, even though you're standing. The staff behind the scenes, I've had a couple of run-ins with the staff at the city council, and it's all been great. So good job, and they do a great job. And, Kathy, Terry, all of them. Just, I've always seen a friendly smile. So just so that you guys know that, those behind the scenes are really working on your behalf really well. So bow your heads with me in a word of prayer. Father God, as we come before you, we're grateful to be here in this place. We're grateful for where we live. We're grateful that you're involved in where we live. And we're grateful for how you provide protection and encouragement and leading and guiding to the city council and their staff. I ask that you would continue to do that. with all the decisions that they need to make, and with all the stress and the pressure of thousands of voices, I know that they are loving the city just as much as we are, and that they're making the decisions that they need to make so that we all love the city for the future. And Father, we give it over to you. With that in mind, we pray in your name. Amen. And amen.
Pledge allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the United States which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, now would you call the roll, please?
Sure will.
Sure.
Mayor Troutman.
Here.
Council members Ekstrom,
Here.
Schumacher. Here. Gill,
Here.
Weed,
Here.
Meisner.
Here.
Council members Smith and Shiraki are both excused. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Could I ask for approval of the minutes for the July 18th City Council meeting and the July 20th Public Works meetings? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor and Council, can I make a minor correction, suggest one?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, shoot.
Now, are there any corrections? Mr. Meisner.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I would suggest an addition to the minutes, page 2, item 3, regarding the stormwater utility regulations. The last sentence begins with, "To a question posed," I would request that say, "To a question posed by Councilman Meisner."
Duly noted.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections? Can I ask for a motion and a second on the corrected minutes of those meetings?
Second. You needed a second, right? Yeah.
Mr.
Mr.
Meisner?
Mayor, Council, I move that we approve the minutes from the 7/18 regular city council meeting and the 7/20 Public Works Committee meeting,
With those corrections, with that correction.
with the correction.
I have a second?
And I'll second.
Mr. Ekstrom, second. Ekstrom, second. Could you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Meisner.
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Aye.
Councilmember Weed.
Aye.
Councilmember Gill.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, are there any council member announcements? Mr. Weed?
Thank you. Two announcements. Wednesday, we'll have a General Government Committee meeting in the adjoining room. And that's pretty routine. We've got something exciting coming up Tuesday night, and I'd like to bring it to council and the citizens' attention. Canyon City has received national recognition, I believe for the last 2 years, for our National Night Out. And National Night Out this year is tomorrow. And so the police department is sponsoring a get-together at Rudd Park, which is a park right across the street from the high school. It's going to be from 5 to 7 o'clock. And there's going to be food, games, prizes provided. So should be a fun time. And for those of you who are old enough to remember, or like me, remember it, through the efforts of Chief Schultz from the police department, he has managed to finagle to get the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile at the park. And if you've ever seen it or heard of it, it's iconic. And this is an opportunity to get your picture taken with the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. So this is tomorrow night from 5 to 7 at Rudd Park, across from the high school. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Mr. Weed. Anyone else? Okay, then at this time, I would like to present a proclamation to Juan Racinas from Valley-Wide Health Systems. Would you please come to the podium? Thank you, Juan. And the proclamation is from the mayor's office, and it is this This proclaims Canyon City from August the 7th through August 13th as National Healthcare Week. And I have signed that proclamation, and if you would come forward, I'd like to present it to you at this time.
Does he have anything to say?
Well, of course. Let's do it. A week's worth of pictures.
We should have brought different changes of clothes, so it looked like we're.
I'm gonna get on this end this time.
I'm getting into that. I don't know if I keep like a fitness man.
And Valleywide has acquired a building downtown, which we all knew as the First National Bank building, which is now Sunflower Building, and there will be a large occupant of our downtown. So, Juan, would you have it take over?
Sure. Right now, we're on second phase of architecture design. The floor plans are, we're still trying to figure out exactly how many providers will be able to fit in the building. The building itself is going to be completely gutted from the inside and out. We're going to try to make it look like it did in its glory in 1902. And so that's very exciting. So in terms of like what I think the reason for the proclamation is, we do have a lot of attention coming from Valleywide, specifically to Canyon. We did buy this building. We are planning on bringing some 10 to 12 providers total, which is a lot of medical providers. So that's medical doctors, dentists, mid-level providers, mental health providers, and so with this building at 531 Main, we're looking to have that be our flagship for the agency. We're 400 employees, and this is going to be our flagship. It's a huge project. We're about to also open it up for biddings, and we want everything to stay local. In terms of what we're doing, that's 18 months from now, though, that we're looking to open those doors. In terms of what we're doing next month is October, first week of October, is opening up dental services to our Medicaid population, basically. We just got the largest grant in Colorado history, I believe, $700,000 to open up services, dental services, specifically to the underserved here in this county, which I think is pretty awesome. We have the space already over at our Fay location, and we've already moved a medical provider into it, and we're interviewing several dentists. So we're going to have a dentist and a hygienist there first week in October to start seeing patients. Now, I keep getting told by everyone that as soon as we open those doors, we're going to get flooded because that's just how great the need is here, and maybe that's why we got such a large grant. So it's a huge project, huge endeavor. We one step at a time, and we're just really excited. One of the cool things is we're going to have to keep that vault in place because it's too expensive to take it out. So y'all can come and visit the vault sometime and move the door around. You never get to move that door. You can look at it. You might get these guys after you if you try to move that door. So that's what we're up to. I have a picture of what the building should look like if anybody's interested afterwards.
Okay. Thank you very much, and welcome to Canyon City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this evening, I would like to go ahead and I'm going to appoint a member to the pension plan program for the city of Canyon City. I'd like to appoint Jim Meisner to that, and I'm sure Jim will accept that position. You didn't know, did you? You did. Okay, well, he'll be on the pension plan committee for the city. Kathy, could we have a report on the Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustment, please?
I just want to let everybody know that the three folks that have been serving on the Planning Commission did submit letters that they want to continue to serve on that board. That's Austin Dunderman, Jerry Maloney, and Brian Ledoux. So with that, as far as the vacant seat left by Mr. Martino, we only received one letter of interest on that, and that was from Gregory Carlson. And so I was just looking at council to see if what their pleasure was, if they wanted to interview or if they want to just go ahead and reappoint. And since we only had one to fill that vacancy, what they wanted to do with that too. So I open it up for council discussion.
Mr. Weed.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I just wanted to talk about this because in general, when we've had vacancies on the Planning Commission or the Board of Adjustment, I've always wanted, or I've suggested it was probably a good idea to do interviews. These are returning members, and I think they've done a fine job. And just in case there's any questions about it, I am very okay with skipping the interviews and reappointing these three gentlemen to the Planning
About the
Commission.
new person,
Oh,
Greg Carlson. It would be three.
it's, and then, well, Greg is on the Board of Adjustment.
Greg Carlson is a brand-new person, and he's back to town, and so he just put his letter in, but it's the only one we received after a month and a half of advertising.
Okay, well, and I'm comfortable with Greg. I know Greg personally, and I don't know about the rest of you, but Greg comes from a very good family, a Dr. and Linda, the Carlson family. He's a great kid, and I think he would be a great addition, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Weed. Any other comments? Mr. Meisner? Mr. Gill?
I think that in this particular case, like Dennis said, everybody's already serving and doing a good job. I feel that maybe the Planning Commission should interview their new prospect, and if he's acceptable to them, then I think council should be acceptable also. But let them interview and hire their teammate, somebody that they have to work with and be creative with. That's just my opinion.
That's a little out of the ordinary. Usually
This is a council
It's a
appointment.
council
Okay,
position.
well, council appointment, that's fine then,
So-
but let them interview their teammate and make a recommendation to council for council to appoint, if that's the way that the process works.
Not the way the
No,
process
no.
works.
No, the council would have to do the interview and then make the decision. So it would be appropriate, possibly, if you want to do an interview, to have him interview in front of council with the Planning Commission in the audience possibly, but to have them pass their ideas on to the new member, that's just not appropriate.
Well, I've spoken to people about this particular subject within staff, and nobody indicated to me that that was improper, or I probably wouldn't have brought it up. But like I said, if they're bringing somebody in, I think they ought to have the autonomy to in this situation, there's only one person. So let them make their recommendation first, and is that out of the ordinary? I mean, it's not the way we've
Yes.
done things.
It's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it has to, Mr. Gill, it has to be going through city council.
Well, I'm very aware of that, but let
Okay.
them as a practice, if there's 2 or 3 openings and there's 4 or 5 people that have applied for it, that they visit with them first and make a recommendation to council, do we want you to interview these other people? And
If
tell me if
I,
that's
if I
inappropriate.
may suggest, if council as a group would want to change the practices and policies of the city
Mm-hmm.
to create that mechanism, I think it could, but right now, it's a council appointment, and council ought to be the interviewing body, and the Planning Commission takes whomever the council
Well, like I said, I've
appoints.
spoken to a number of staff on this particular issue, and really nobody gave me that information, or I probably wouldn't be wasting our time right now, especially with one interview.
Well, just as a point of information, I think what's being requested is somewhat confusing in that what you're recommending is that the Planning Commission review a candidate, offer up a recommendation, but that does not in any way undermine or abdicate the council's
No,
ultimate
council would still have to
responsibility
appoint.
to make
Yes.
the appointment.
Yes.
It's just purely an advisory recommendation,
So that they can talk with them,
it's
learn
not
their
mutually
ideas. and
exclusive. It doesn't undermine the council's
Oh,
authority.
no, that was
So,
no
Just
intention.
to clarify that.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, and I've been in cities where planning commissions have done that, and because you're right, it's a working group. They don't make the final decision, but I think it'd be worthwhile to get their input on a candidate. But ultimately, it's your decision.
Correct.
So that's crystal clear.
Yeah, I understood that,
Yeah.
yes.
If I may add, if there's only one candidate this time, and you guys want to interview, reappoint the 3 and interview the 1, we could go ahead and probably interview just 1 on the 15th and have him just come as part of an agenda item. It wouldn't take very long to interview him.
What's the pleasure of council?
Prior to that interview, then the plan commission could offer up a recommendation within the
Correct.
next 2 weeks.
Well,
I understood Mr. Havens to say we wouldn't do it this time.
It's, yeah, and I mean, I will suggest that if we interviewed Greg Carlson, I think the board, the council would unanimously
Concur.
approve him
Yeah.
in any event. And I think in the interest of saving time and just getting this appointment completed, that we just go ahead and do it.
They're wanting to meet with council as soon as possible as a group.
Let's do it main interview or appoint?
No, a point. And when we get to the appropriate time, I'm going to make a motion to that effect.
Any other comments from council? Then I would ask for a motion on the appointment to Planning Commission and to Board of Adjustment as the members plus Mr. Carlson. Mr. Weed.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I'd make the motion that we appoint Austin Dunderman, Jerry Maloney, Brian Ledoux, and Greg Carlson to the appropriate boards.
It's my understanding that it's for the planning commission.
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission.
Yes, then I'll second that.
So just Planning Commission, not Board of Adjustment?
Correct. We'd have to go back out for Board of Adjustment because there's no interest.
Okay. So at this time, the motion is on to appoint the 4 people that were mentioned by Mr. Weed to the Planning Commission. Is that the way I
Yes, sir.
understand it?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Mr. Ekstrom seconded.
Mr. Ekstrom, second. Would you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Weed?
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Aye.
Councilmember Gill?
Aye.
Member Meisner?
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
So what then do we do about, how short or do we have any members on the Board of Adjustment at this time?
Probably need to go out and advertise again, and then I would suggest any council members that may know somebody that may want to serve on that. It's a good way to get their feet wet and get into government and serving their communities. So they meet once a month at 4 p.m. As necessary. I do believe there may be some changes coming down with the Board of Adjustment, so they may be meeting more regularly than that. I'm not sure.
How many members are on the Board of Adjustment at this time?
There's 5 with 2 alternates. Or that's what there is, but there's 2 vacancies.
Okay. Okay. Well,
And also, I need you guys to look at your calendars so we can set up a mutual agreement. You'll be getting an email from me tomorrow morning wanting to schedule a time for you, council members, to meet with planning commission members. We want to do that pretty soon, within a week or 2.
okay. You'll issue a date then, or do we?
And to coordinate it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, then act for adoption of the addended, adoption of the agenda and the consent agenda. Tony, would you review the consent agenda items, please?
Yeah. Item 4A is to authorize extension of funding to the Fremont Center for the Arts in the amount of $1,800 per month for the next 3 months, and that was a recommendation of the Public Works Committee. Item 4B would authorize a professional service agreement with Atkins North America for a not to exceed amount of $569,602 to design the 15th Street and 9th Street stormwater detention basins, and also update the flood insurance rate maps. These proposed detention basins are in the northeast portion of the community, and they are the largest floodplain in the city next to the Arkansas River floodplain. And this project should be completed by the spring of 2017. Item 4C would authorize the expansion of the police department's take-home car policy for a 1-year trial It will allow police officers to use their police vehicles while off duty. Officers will be required to have their police radios on, as well as carry their ballistic vest and service weapons in order to supplement on-duty officers, increase police presence, deter crime, and improve overall response rate in the community. Item 4D would authorize the city clerk to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Fremont County Clerk to coordinate and conduct a 2016 general election on November 8, 2016. And the final item would authorize the city administrator to execute a professional service agreement with Wilson and Company at a cost not to exceed $199,956.56 to evaluate at grade, above grade, below grade pedestrian crossing opportunities on US 50 between 3rd Street and 9th Street. And this work should also be completed by the spring of 2017 and will provide an outstanding conduit between downtown and the river corridor.
I would just like to note that I need to amend my agenda that I had on item 4E that says at 3rd Street. That's 3rd Street to 9th Street. So that amendment will be made to the agenda. It's not definite there. It's undetermined at this time, as Tony said.
And then list of bills, right? Any questions on that?
Just
Mr. Weed?
a couple quick ones. Harry, the detention basin project, is that entirely funded by the city? And if it is, are those funds available in the stormwater fund currently? Yes, okay. And then the pedestrian crossing, that's also going to be funded by the city?
By the city.
Okay,
It's part of a CDOT program, that
Right.
80% is the state, 20% is the city.
right,
So it's a great gift.
yeah.
Possibility of also receiving monies from the Colorado Water Conservancy Board, too.
Or the stormwater, I mean, this is, and this is the study for it, this is not the
2016.
construction.
I believe that that's what Adam was saying.
Yeah, yeah, okay. It's a big study.
Mr. Ekstrom?
They will benefit from it, too.
Yes, actually, I needed a clarification on item B, and we might need to take it off the agenda if we can't get the answer right away. I noticed that this amount did not go to bid. At least I was unsure of that. It didn't come up in our discussion, and it was brought to my attention later after the meeting that this is a rather large amount that never went to bid. I don't know, Tony, if you can comment on that, or if Harry can comment on that. And if not, maybe we should take it off, because normally things like this do go to bid.
That was my question, too.
Okay.
I'll
In
have to
hindsight.
get that information for you. I remember we had discussions about the firm last week, but not about the bidding process. I'll have to get that from Adam.
But let me throw in right now that professional services contracts don't necessarily require bids. They can require requests for services, and those can be compared. But it isn't the usual, normal, formal bidding process with sealed bids that we do with contractors who build things.
And this company's also been the ones that's been involved in the previous study and all of that, too. So I think that that's why he went with these folks, too.
Okay, and so then the concern that was brought to my attention was it's a rather large sum of money, and there are other companies that could possibly bid this comparable or less. So again, it was a concerned citizen that brought it to my attention, and I just wanted to let
Well,
council
we'll
know.
get you the information regarding, this was a request for proposal, what other proposals we've received, and bring that information back to you on August 15th, because to my knowledge, this isn't an emergency, so we can defer this for 2 weeks.
So is it possible that we could take it off then?
Yes.
Okay, if we could do that, yep, thank you.
So you're going to amend the agenda to take it off and readdress it on the 15th?
Yeah, and move it to the 15th then. Yep, readdress it on the 15th.
Okay, is that okay with everyone? Mr. Meisner?
Mr. Mayor.
Wouldn't we want to refer that back to Public Works meeting?
I think it's purely informational, so we can bring it back on the 15th. I mean, if you'd like us to give us.
Or in a
an
memo.
Well, I'm
update
with
on
Scott.
Wednesday, we could.
I understand that this company has apparently provided us with some successful history performance, but, you know, we're talking $500,000 here that we're plopping down just for a study purposes. Is that correct? There's no physical work that's going to be done in this whole process
Correct.
for 2 years' worth of work.
It's design work for 2 detention basins and updating the flood insurance rate maps.
So, Councilman Meiser, I would be comfortable with getting a memo, and if at that point, we need to discuss it further on the 15th.
And if we need
could
to
do
pull
that.
it off, then we
We
can
can
pull it off at
Okay.
that time. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
So then,
Revisit.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda and consent agenda with item B being removed and deferred until the 15th, and then the correction on item E.
What was the last part of that?
It was just a clarification on
Third
item
and
E. We need to clarify that it's not limited
Oh,
just to Third Street, but it's
got
that
it,
whole area.
Got it.
Third to ninth. Does everybody understand the motion? That Mr. Meisner, you still want to second it? Mr. Gill seconded. Okay, well, I was wrong. Thank you, Mr. Gill. Motion's been made and seconded. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ekstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Gill.
Aye.
Councilmember Meisner.
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Aye.
Councilmember Weed.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Could I have the administrator's report, Tony?
Want to reiterate the opportunity for the public to attend the National Night Out. I understand that Canyon City has a stellar evening planned, and I don't think anyone can top the Wienermobile. So that's
I
from 5 to
can't.
7 at Rudd Park. And to give equal recognition, the Sheriff's Department's having a National Night Out in an unincorporated portion of the county in Lincoln Park at Rouse Park, and I believe the hours are similar. So people should attend both.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
And also, just as an update, the citizen survey, it's hit the mail that most people should have received their second survey to ensure that they filled it out. And the deadline to complete that and response will be about the 18th or 19th of August. And then after that, we will work with the media in promoting the online opportunity for those people who did not receive the official written survey. So the public can still participate and provide us our input. Those results, though, will be segregated from the official results, but as I've indicated in my past experience, those results are very similar. So it's a good opportunity for the public to take advantage of that.
Thank you, Tony. And I didn't get one in the mail, so I feel left out. Didn't I?
For the borrow marks.
Mr. Gill did. Did any other council members get it?
And what I did with that survey, I
Now,
gave it to
careful.
somebody else
Oh, okay.
to fill out, because I know I have my opinion, and what I'm looking for is the opinion of the general citizens of Canyon City.
I understand your rationale. Thank you
I
so
just hope
much.
they fill it out so I don't get in trouble.
Well, was your name on it?
Pardon me?
Was there?
We
Our
coded
current
his.
resident.
Yeah, we
Coded
coded
his.
his.
Okay, yeah. You'll feel a shock at your chair. All right. So we have come to the citizens' request to speak to City Council. Kathy?
One written request to speak to council is from Beth Ketchmar, 509 Main Street. She wants to talk to council about panhandling on downtown streets.
Thank you. My name is Beth Ketchmar, 509 Main Street, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I don't know if many of you have had the opportunity to come downtown this summer, but it's packed all the time. You can't hardly find a parking space. The place looks beautiful. Have lots and lots of positive comments about how beautiful it looks with all the flowers and the streetscaping. A lot of positive interaction with people, and a lot of positive comments also on TripAdvisor reviews saying how beautiful Main Street is. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is the fact that a couple Fridays ago, it was a very, very busy day. It was a long day. I'd been there. I was probably approaching my 12th hour of being there that day. 7:30 on a Friday night, busy, people pouring in and out, packed house all night long, all day long. And I go outside, and here's our friendly local panhandler who is regularly makes his appearance at the right next door to Pizza Madness, either himself and sometimes two friends. They're usually drunk. They're usually obnoxious. And when you ask them to leave, they make the comment that I have every right to be here. This is a public sidewalk, and there's no law against panhandling. There's no law against public drunkenness. And then I say, and I ask, would you please leave? And I get that comment. And then I said, well, then I'm going to call the police. And I get the comment, great. We'd love for you to call the police. Oh, by the way, could you call this officer because she always treats us really nice. And I know the police have no teeth to fight these guys. I know public drunkenness has been brought up in the past, and it's an issue because we don't have a drunk tank here. We don't have a place to take public drunk people. And it's not the public drunkenness as much as the panhandling, because they're not just panhandling. If you don't give them something, they engage people in an obnoxious conversation. They curse at people. They yell at people. They scream across the street. And that is against the law because that is harassment. But he also is very careful, especially this one. He's no dummy. I mean, he gets a check. He's not homeless. He's not a beggar. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to totally work the system. And when you call the police, they're always very polite, very nice. We'll send somebody down. They come down. They get rid of him. But I just don't think that as a tax-paying citizen, property tax, sales tax, I work very, very, very hard at my businesses. And I've built great businesses. I have, 3 businesses on Main Street. I bring a lot of people to this town, to this community, and I pay a lot of sales tax. And I don't think that I should have to put up with something like that on a regular basis, and that I should have to call the police on a regular basis who have no teeth to deal with this person. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Beth? Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Meisner.
This whole issue was the main subject of our city-county meeting in terms of how, as a community, and let's talk about the entire county, how do we address the panhandling issue that some of us are trying to differentiate between panhandling and homeless. And looking at the problems that Colorado Springs has with trying to litigate the issue. There was some discussion at that meeting that the potential solution to the problem is the education of the public. That if we could get the public educated to not donate money to these people, that would have a significant help to the problem. So there is some beginning discussion on the issue, but I will say that it becomes very, very difficult to litigate the problem through ordinances because that creates a whole nother set of problems.
Well, I mean, I'll have to say, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. But, when you're dealing with people who live here, they recognize these people. I mean, these people, they're not homeless by any means. They live here, and they regularly beg for stuff, and they're regularly drunk or high on drugs all the time. And that's what they use the money for. But then when you're dealing with tourists, and I can't even go, I even hesitate to call the police when they're tourists because you're full of tourists. And you know what? I look like the bad guy, and I look like the bad person. And it's just, and so you're not going to educate. And I've seen tourists give this guy money, and it's obnoxious. He is totally obnoxious. And he totally works the system.
Mr. Ekstrom?
I have a couple questions for her, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thanks. Are you able to move them away from the front of your storefront?
Well, that's what I say. I say, you need to move. Well, you don't own this space. I said, I do, in fact, own that space. And well, not this public sidewalk, and that's what they say.
And so they're going further out onto the street.
Well, and if they sit farther out on the street, then they're even more obnoxious.
Well,
At
right.
least they're
yeah,
sitting
and I
up.
know I think I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, you do.
And then, does he then? Do they then go next door to the vacant
Well, that's
building next door?
I've had them sitting in the doorways. Anywhere they go, and they engage people in conversation.
Right.
Like I said,
they can be obnoxious.
Yeah.
What is your understanding of the loitering law? Is there an ordinance, and is there one?
Let me chime in to what Councilman Meisner said. Recently, especially in Colorado, there have been decisions where panhandling ordinances have just been smashed to smithereens. That's not a legal term, but it's a very, very, very tough hill to climb if it can be done anymore, because of an Arizona case called Reed versus Gilbert that had to do with signs but applies to panhandling. So if you're thinking there's a Save the World or Save Main Street type panhandling ordinance we could adopt next Thursday and enforce on Friday, you're dreaming. It's almost impossible to do a panhandling ordinance anymore because it's subject to strict scrutiny by the courts, which is an almost impossible burden to overcome. Now, what the police can do when there's disorderly conduct or other abuses of existing laws that don't have to do with panhandling is enforce those laws. And if there's cursing and yelling and screaming and other forms of misbehavior, you're probably into that realm, and the police very, very well could cite violations with respect to those issues, which are covered both by municipal ordinances and state statutes. But on panhandling itself, that's a tough road to hoe. It really is, and it's gotten a whole lot tougher. And loitering, the same general thing. The prosecuting people because of status is frowned upon by the courts. And we do have a teenage loitering ordinance that has to do with sort of curfew type issues, but going beyond that is a very, very difficult thing to do in terms of adopting a law that would be enforceable and wouldn't get the ACLU down here to sue us all.
Ms. Gill.
Mr. Havens, it seems odd to me that we shouldn't have something we can do in a specific situation like this. I'm sure there's panhandlers out there that aren't quite so aggressive and obnoxious on our main street. There's got to be something we can do. There is no public intoxication law, no ordinance or anything.
Depending on behavior that goes along with drunkenness, if we have folks who are drunk, depending on what they do, there are ordinance violations. I mean, for example, you can't step out in the street and interrupt traffic when you're drinking, probably when you're not drinking as well. As I said, disorderly conduct and statutes and ordinances of that sort remain on the books and remain enforceable. And you're having the same reaction that city councils all around the state are having. How can we not control
Well, I think that the
panhandling?
fact that the gentleman is challenging a merchant on Main Street,
Well, that doesn't,
Yeah,
that
I think there's
doesn't
gotta be
necessarily
something that
matter.
can be
The
done there.
street is a public street,
Yeah.
and I think technically the panhandler is correct when he
Right.
says, I've got a right to be
No,
here.
I know. Like I said, he's not stupid.
Mr. Weed?
I don't know that this is a workable solution, but I mean, I could see getting volunteers to partner up with this guy and explain to everybody that he approaches, "Now, this guy has a job, he's not homeless, he doesn't need the money, ignore him." I mean, it'll certainly make him go someplace else.
Yeah, I don't think that would work either. But anyway, I just wanted to, I mean, like I said, I know that it's good to have the discussion, and I know it's a problem everywhere. And I mean, if somebody plays music in front of my place, I don't have any problem with that at all. But he's just particularly obnoxious, and I feel bad when I have to call the police. But
Yeah.
but I know that it's at least they know how to deal with him. So
Yeah, John and I were at that conference in June, wasn't it, John? And there were a bunch of mayors and sitting there, and that case that he had talked about, it's a First Amendment right. And unfortunately, it tramples everybody else's rights, and that's what we find objectionable. But he's right. We do something inappropriate, and the ACLU will be down here. And there were numbers in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees that towns had to pay because of it. So I will say that I will add that tomorrow I have a meeting with the Council of Governments and other people that will be discussing that issue as well. Maybe as a county and all the cities involved, we can get our hands close to around it, and we will work on it. it's tough.
Okay,
So,
well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Lisa, I don't know if I can do that. You're not on the agenda. Would this council allow her to speak or not?
I'm okay.
Okay, briefly. You're on the clock. 1 minute.
Oh, good luck with that, Liz.
No, I just wanted to kind of support Beth in the fact that we have had an ongoing problem in entertainment in the park on Tuesday nights. We have 2 or 3 individuals that are coming down there and they're panhandling with the people trying to enjoy the concert. We had a gentleman on Tuesday evening when we had our first responders event, and they were here from Kansas, and they had put up a little tent. It was very sweet, and they were sitting in there enjoying them, and the homeless man went and laid in their tent and wouldn't leave them unless he got something from them. And yeah, it was pretty bad. And so we are experiencing this problem with them also soliciting, and I know there's nothing you can do, but I'm just saying that we're seeing it in greater numbers, especially at entertainment in the park. And people are upset about it.
Well, I think there is things we can do about it. And we're going to work on it very hard. And I spent a lot of time. We had a radio program where Mr. Gill and I were on. We discussed it. But we are going to do something about it. So, thank you. Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing for an application for a special event liquor permit, Fremont Adventure Recreation. I'd like to now open that public hearing. Could I have a report from the city clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is Ashley Sack, who's representing Fremont Adventure Recreation, who's applied to this council for a special event liquor permit for September 24th between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. for their Bikes and Brews Festival. Notice of this public hearing was given by posting the location in the park. This is the 4th liquor license event that this organization has conducted with no resulting concerns. Between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Following their bike route, cyclists will be offered lunch, Colorado brewed beer, and enjoy live music. Alcohol sales for this event are being conducted as a fundraiser for the organization to continue their efforts to promote outdoor recreation in Fremont County. Individuals aged 21 and up will receive wristbands indicating legal drinking age. Participating brewers who will be serving their own product will be advised of the protocol during the inspection time. Volunteers from this organization has attended volunteer training provided by this city, as they will be checking IDs to ensure legal drinking age and will be assisting patrolling the area. An on-site inspection of the premises will be conducted that same day, and once all requirements of that inspection have been fulfilled, a permit will be issued. Upon review of the application, it has been determined that the appropriate fee has been submitted to the city. The diagram meets filing requirements. They have obtained a park use permit and permission to use the sculpture park from Fremont Center for the Arts. And the organization remains in good standing with the Secretary of State. So with that, I'd open it up to any questions you may have of Ms. Sack.
Are there any questions of the applicant? Mr. Weed.
Thank you, Mayor. Ashley, thanks for coming. Are you familiar with the Colorado Liquor Code? And is there a copy of the liquor code on file with your establishment? How many volunteers do you plan on having for this event, and how are they going to be trained on the liquor code?
We only have 2 brewers this year, and the brewers will be providing their own pours, so none of our organization's volunteers will be pouring liquor. So.
Okay, and are you going to have some way of identifying people as they enter, if they're of legal age, or will the vendors be doing that at their locations?
All of the entrance at the entrance gate, and we have security that will be checking IDs and providing wristbands for those who are 21 and over, and an X on their hand if they are under 21.
Got it. Okay. Are you fully aware that you're responsible for compliance with the Colorado Liquor Code, and that any violations of this code may be held against you or your organization and affect future licensing as well? Would you like to tell us a little bit more about your event?
I would love to.
Great.
Thank you, Council, for having me tonight. This is our 4th annual event. We are very excited to offer it once again. Our bike rides remain the same. We offer a Royal Gorge Century, a Metric Century. Both of those go over the gorgeous Royal Gorge Bridge, as you all know. And our 3rd ride is through Red Canyon Park. through that area and back to Macon Plaza, where all of the riders were finished, and they will be provided a lunch and beer. We are extra excited this year because we are partnering with 2 organizations here in town, businesses. We're partnering with the Abbey. We have a Wine and Wheels option where our participants may also add on an additional fee, and they get a commemorative glass and some wine tasting tickets that will be good at the Harvest Festival at the Abbey Winery. So we're partnering with them. We also have one of our local breweries, Florence Brewing, and also the Royal Gorge Brewing Company will be at our event. So we love having those local organizations and businesses involved with our event. Of course, all the monies that we earn from this event go straight back into our community and straight back into our local businesses. So we're very excited to offer that again this year.
Are you going to have any kind of bike event for those who are maybe less inclined to challenge a real bike ride?
Ride around the block and we'll have a beer ready for you.
Okay.
For him, you might need training wheels.
We can provide those, yes,
That's,
absolutely.
Sounds great. I have no further questions.
Okay, then, Mr. Meisner.
I have a simple question, I guess. When I look at this map, I interpret that there's no smoking inside the map, inside the boundaries?
Right. And again, if they need to leave, they can exit. The entrance and exit is right near by the sculpture garden. So if they need to leave, we will again check the IDs if necessary. So they'll be right there by the security station if they need to leave and smoke and come back.
They won't be leaving with alcohol or bringing alcohol back in.
No, it is completely gated. We use the mesh fencing, so they are not able to leave without going through the exit and entrance.
Actually, I do have a couple other questions.
Yes, sir.
Just hopefully to promote the event a little bit more. What times do these events take place?
So the bike rides, the bike ride begins at anywhere from 7:30 to about 10 o'clock, depending on the ride. All the information is on the website, which is bikesandbrews.org. The longer rides obviously start earlier. The smaller ride, the Red Canyon 50K, starts later on in the day, so that everyone kind of ends up at Macon Plaza at around the same time. Of course, lunch is between 11 to 3, so whenever the riders finish, whether you're a slow rider or a fast rider, you end up at Macon Plaza. Beer, lunch, is all going to be there for you. Entertainment, we have Lindsay Saunders coming again. She was with us last year. Our event does end a little earlier this year in order to promote the Harvest Festival. They have a wealth of entertainment happening over there, so we really want to partner with these other events and not overshadow them or compete with them. So our event ends earlier so that you can go over to the Abbey and have some wine.
Great. Well, my other question was going to be, you have a stage, who's on it? But you answered that. So now I really am done.
Really? Really? Okay, are there any other questions of council? Hearing any more comments or questions, I'm going to close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry, is anybody from the audience would like to comment? That's it?
Beth can tell you what's going to be on our delicious pizzas that are provided at the lunch.
Oh, so there is someone wants to comment, huh? Good pizza, very good pizza, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, close the public hearing and have a motion and a second from council. Mr. Weed.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I'd make a motion to approve the application for a special event liquor permit for Fremont Adventure Recreation on September 24th.
Schumacher, second. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Would you call a roll, please?
Member Weed?
Good luck, and aye.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember Gill?
Aye.
Councilmember Meisner?
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you. Number 8 is establishment and creation of and formation of a marijuana cultivation regulation committee. Could I have please a report from the city administrator?
Yes, the city council has indicated it would like to provide the public a safe and secure alternative to single-family residential marijuana grows, and has expressed interest in working with the community at large in the formation of a committee that would look at zoning regulations and specifically special use regulations to permit the cultivation of marijuana in either commercial or industrial zones. And the purpose, again, is straightforward: to create and protect the public's health, safety, and welfare by trying to solicit residential grows into a more secure environment. As you know, where there's usually been problems with grow, it's largely been with single-family homes, particularly as it relates to fires and noxious odors and contamination. So this would go a long way to address those problems. What we would recommend is the formation of a committee that would consist of at least 3 members of the council, 2 members of the city planning commission, probably up to 4 residents. Not necessarily those just directly adjacent to an existing facility, but that would be a representative of the cross-section of the community, because in theory, these potential facilities could be sited in other industrial areas of the city. Several business owners, and then several what I would call marijuana industry representatives. We know that Allison Helsley has committed to the city that she would curtail her operations in the interest of working on this committee and trying to come up with a win-win scenario. Some of the areas that would be addressed are what is the appropriate land use classification? You know, is it industrial? Is it commercial? Is it both? Currently, your medical marijuana facility ordinance permits the siting of such facilities in either commercial or industrial zones. There are pros and cons to that. Odor control, which is a major issue. Security, given the cash nature of this enterprise. Electrical and lighting plans, waste disposal, fire, building code, plumbing code plans. Criminal background checks, the prohibition of any juvenile employees or patrons, hours of operations, inspection requirements, necessary application fees and process, distance from schools, daycare facilities, and parks, which currently you do not have in your medical marijuana regulations, and what emergency contacts are available. We believe because the state of Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and California have well-established regulations, coupled with many communities in those 4 states. We're not starting from ground zero. We're not reinventing the wheel. We think we could probably, through a very clear and transparent process, arrive at a recommendation for the Planning Commission's consideration, then ultimately the Council's consideration within a 6 to 7 week period. What we would recommend is 1 meeting per week for probably 6 or 7 weeks to produce a product for the Planning Commission, who then in turn would promote and produce a product for the City Council.
Thank you, Tony. Any comments from council? Mr. Meisner?
Mr. Mayor and council, my concern, Tony, still comes back to the fact that how do we differentiate residential operations, I'm going to call it that, and commercial operations? And how do we take that concept with the will of the voters that have said, as I understand, we don't want commercial grows? Is that correct?
Well, specifically, the ballot question asked in 2014 related to the retail sale and cultivation of recreational marijuana. This is not promoting the sale of marijuana, purely the cultivation. In the absence of people growing it in their homes, this, in theory, should be a safer and more neutral environment for the cultivation. That's been the express interest of the council to date.
I don't disagree with what you've philosophically said. I don't know that if you walk down Main Street and ask John Doe how one of these operations differs from a commercial operation, I don't know that that individual would be able to distinguish that. And how are we going to distinguish the difference between a Hensley operation, proposed operation, and a commercial grow? I can't see that clear picture.
It is a unique potential operation. I'm not familiar with any, generally cities, again, in these 4 states have permitted the cultivation and the sale of medicinal marijuana or recreational marijuana. I'm not aware of anyone that's just permitted the cultivation of marijuana for recreational purposes. So this is unique. This is a hybrid. But again, it goes back to what the council's interest has been to date. And do you believe there is a public benefit and public purpose to try to encourage people not to grow marijuana, which are legally permitted to do in residential, single-family homes, or is it better for the public's health, safety, and welfare to concentrate those grows in more structured locations like commercial and industrial zones with a lot more controls and special requirements?
I can add, today in the Colorado Springs newspaper, there was an article that the sheriff and other law enforcement officers, parties, had requested the state legislature to quit making new rules and regulations. I didn't know this, but in the last 4 years since the amendment, and since the amendment came out, there's been over 80 different bills regarding marijuana. This has caused a lot of confusion, and if you read through the article, and actually as we were up together at the mayor's meeting at the CML, it is a big problem. And one of the recommendations in that article from these officers was the cities should create a committee for that, is what we're talking about here. It's trying to get your arms around all this and get it right, even close, is tough. We're spending an awful lot of time on this. We have other things in this city to do that are more important than be beating our brains out because of marijuana. And I'm tired of it. And we have to have a committee. I think that committee has got to sit down together, get a better plan of action, make some recommendations, do it in a very short period of time, and let's get going. We got other things to do. But you and I know we've sat around on how many different work sessions and stuff like that talking about marijuana, and I'm getting pretty tired of it. Okay? So, after having said that, could I have a motion and a second or more discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor, what is the alternative to us not forming this committee? What is the alternative to us not moving forward with this committee? And, I mean, can we just make this dead in the water? And what is the alternative?
Well, the alternative is we continue to have the issues come up and citizens complain, and without, I think, a real clear document or path to move on, and every community is going through the same thing. And the recommendation is to get the people together. It seems to me that we have people that are actually in the process of growing the product and people that don't know anything about it. And so I believe we need to get together and form a better procedure on how to work with what's going on here. And without that, it's going to come to City Council, it's going to come to Planning Commission, it's going to come to the General Government meeting. We have gone through this on many different occasions.
How does the county deal with this issue, with this, especially with this particular issue?
I believe
The county
that
currently has a moratorium.
They do.
They do have a medical
Which takes me back
marijuana
to
regulation.
your point. I thought that that's basically what we had.
Well,
was-
I guess I need to sit down and read that again, but my fundamental and philosophical disagreement with the concept is I need to make for sure that I understand what the voters did not approve. And once I've got a clear understanding of what they did not approve, then I can move forward. But it's my belief that they did not approve commercial grows. And that is essentially what we're trying to create. No matter what you call it, we are still trying to create a commercial grow with residential marijuana. And philosophically, I can't support that. That doesn't mean that we need to, that doesn't mean that we, that's too many negatives. We should still probably proceed with a committee to try to get some things straightened out. But to support a zoning change that would allow commercial grows, I've got to have a better understanding of what the voters did not want previously.
Mr. Gill?
When it went up for vote, the citizens voted down recreational marijuana, where there would have been heavy taxing and a revenue income for our city. I can't, anyway, in my mind, believe that they would approve of marijuana grows within the city limits of Canyon City with no financial income of any consequence. And that's just my opinion. I mean, it's how I think, it's how I feel. And I really do not feel I'm so far off base. There are so many areas within the state of Colorado and Fremont County where a facility like this can go in and not affect any citizen within the city of Canyon City. And the citizens of Canyon City voted down recreational marijuana for profit that could have gone to schools, and you see all these people that are doing this. And another thing that I caution is that everybody that did allow the marijuana grows has now put a moratorium on it. So I think that as Canyon City, we need to look at what history has presented us and be thankful that we're at this decision-making point after other people have said, whoa, wait a minute, this is not what we need in our world. That's my thing. I am in support of the committee to hash this out, to bring it all to the surface, because there's citizens on the committees. There's people who have more experience in this world than I do in certain things. So I will support the committee. However, I honestly do not feel in my heart that the citizens of Canyon City would approve, if put out for a vote, somebody growing marijuana commercially within our city limits.
And that's a determination in a way that the committee would bring up. I hear a lot of confusion, and that's exactly what we need here. We don't need this confusion. We need to have a central group, and you can be on it.
With all 5 sides on it?
Well, with all 5 sides, if there's that many sides, okay, and not pick a side, so to speak, and not we're sort of beside ourselves, not to belabor the word, on what's going on here. There's recreation, there's medical, and there's a difference between where and how. And I think it should drill down into my business, so where I'm affected by residential grows that are legal. And I think there should be more control on it. What that looks like, I don't know. That's what a committee should do. Or we can do it in general government meeting and spend 2 hours debating it for here on. Let's put some people in charge of that and see what the product is. We have the
Mayor?
right one way or the other. Ms. Schumacher?
My understanding is that the findings of this committee would not only go through the Planning Commission, but the final straw, the final vote would come down to City Council, correct?
Correct.
So
It would-
those of us that feel that the 62% need to be upheld,
It
but
would
we
be,
can bring the information that maybe not everybody in this city has about this product and about this grow to light.
I would hope that that committee would have findings clarifying some of the discussions that we just had here. We can't even discuss it without understanding, we just can't.
Without questions.
Without
Yeah.
questions and wonderment and all that. And this should give us more time to do good city business and consider what I think is junk, but.
The impact of marijuana in Canyon City and Fremont County in the United States is significant and will continue to be significant over the next 10 years. And is probably, next to our healthcare system, one of the major issues that we're going to face. So it's not going to go away.
And that's why I think, and even the recommendation from the sheriff's office and other was to form a committee that try and get an understanding of it and get out ahead of it. And I think we've been pretty good at it as compared to other places, but we have to get better, and that should be, I think, in the hands, get it out of our hands, come up with a report of people that are knowledgeable in it so we can see where it should go.
And then, Tony, does it make sense to have, I don't know that it's the fire chief, but a fire department representative?
Yeah, that'd be an excellent.
And then the
and
next one would be,
Also Greg.
I mean, I know he's busy, but, I mean, maybe one of the assistants could help.
Sure.
And then the same way with the police department. I don't know that having at least a voice from that group, at least participating in the process.
I think that's an excellent suggestion. We would incorporate that.
I don't know that we need to involve the zoning people at this time.
That'll get involved when it hits planning.
Right.
What's that?
Okay.
Terry, you've got
T-
planning.
Terry would be involved because this is that at its core, a land use issue that requires a great deal of planning expertise. So she would definitely be
question.
involved. That's why I suggested that 2 members of the planning commission be on this, because if we can get their involvement and engagement, just like the city council, early on, they're going to be resident experts when this goes before the planning commission, just as I think the council members who are involved in this will become experts, whether you like it or not, that your peers will lean on you for that information and expertise.
In case
Oh,
a
yeah.
question comes up.
She's going to be on there.
So do we do a motion?
Yes, the motion that would be on the table then would to form a committee for the review of the cultivation and regulations. Is that how we should do it?
Yes, and then we would ask on the 15th that you'll have time to think about who you want to appoint. So on the 15th, we'll come back with your recommendation to appoint these members.
15th, we'll appoint members.
Mr. Meisner?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I move that we establish a marijuana cultivation regulation committee. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Does everybody understand the motion? Have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Meisner?
Aye.
Councilmember Weed?
Aye.
Councilmember Ekstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Aye.
Councilmember Gill?
Aye.
Approved by unanimous vote.
Well, thank you all. I'm going to hereby adjourn the meeting, and thank you all for coming. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Let me make a quick comment.
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
It's,
Mr. Reed, yes, go
I see
ahead.
Harry's here, and we got a thing here. It looks like sales tax is doing well this year. We're up, if my numbers are correct, it looks like we're up 3.5% over last year. And I think we budgeted for 2%, didn't we? Yeah, so. Yeah, so things are looking good.
Thanks to your rafting business.
Okay, and I'm going to adjourn for the second time. Mr. Weed, are you finished?
I am finished
you.
again.